The life you want depends on the man you become right now. Your marriage, your family, your peace, and your purpose. All of that depends on who you decide to become today. Most men are disconnected from that reality. Stick around and I'll show you how that's done. Welcome to Undivided. Welcome back to Undivided. I'm your host, Adam Maxwell, where we are talking about rebuilding your life through faith, discipline, and adventure. Today, we're going to be talking about becoming the man that your future depends on. It's really the key to this whole thing, right? Is becoming that guy that you want to be, not to stay the man that you are today. You might be perfect, but I doubt it. So let's dig in a little bit and see if I can bring some emotion to this baby, and do this thing right. But your future isn't being the perfect man, right? It's finding the man that is willing to grow. If you sit there and you remain stagnant and you're not willing to make changes in your life to better it, you're not able to grow. So no matter what your age is, or no matter what your background is, you still have time to do something about it. Um, even if you have one foot in the grave, you still have time. You're still here and you can still make a change to make yourself, a better version of you for the people around you that you love. Maybe not even for the people around you love, maybe the people that you like. It doesn't have to be um, a world changing thing. It can just be your world that you change to enjoy it a little bit more. But today we are going to be discussing how to grow, becoming intentional in the growth, and how becoming intentional in your daily grind, building an identity for yourself, because you're the only one that knows how you can do that. I could give you all the advice in the world, but if you're not sure who you are, then it's pretty difficult to get there. Working on getting rid of the drift, which we've talked about in earlier episodes, and then getting started now, getting started today, one step at a time, and no more waiting for change, taking action and doing that today. That's what we're going to get after. But building yourself backwards is the fastest way to stay right where you are, right? And you're like, building myself backwards, what do you mean? Well, I'm talking about, um, expecting outcomes in your life before finding your identity, right? Expecting something to change in your future without even knowing what you want or who you are. You could be 45 years old and still not really know what your identity is if you haven't been able to, lash it down and take care of some of these bad habits that are in your life. Um, it's hard to become someone or something or a version of yourself if you don't know who you are. What you really need to nail down is, what are your interests? What do you like to do? Do you love to fish? Do you love to ride bicycle? Do you love to ride, dirt bike? Do you love to skateboard? Do you love to do puzzles? Whatever it may be, you need to find that in your identity and make that a part of your daily routine. Do the things that you enjoy doing. Don't just go to work and come home and start drinking and then go to bed and wake up and drink coffee and put that on repeat, because before you know it, those habits, your brain is developed because it's the easy button, and you get into the cycle, and it's easy to not really have much care for the world because, I don't know, it's boring and life feels like it's flying by. But that's because you're not doing what interests you. You need to find the time for that stuff, and that's what we're here to figure out. And when it comes to finding your identity, you can talk to your friends, you can talk to me, you can talk to the people that your family that loves you. But you need to take the advice, and you need to digest that advice, do a little listening, and then do it your way. Even as far as this podcast is concerned, to all of you out there that gave me advice, I appreciate it with all of my heart, and I've taken most of it, and I've kind of adapted some of these things to how I'm doing this thing. But at the end of the day, I had to do it the way that felt right to me. Otherwise, it wouldn't be real. It'd feel fake. I would feel fake. And I want this to be for real, for real. I try my best to do this stuff in like one cut, right? Every once in a while in the beginning, if I start the opening and I really suck at it, I know that you guys don't want to sit there and listen to me talk to myself because yeah, I know that you don't want to. So I sometimes I'll mess with that, or if there's stuff that I have to truly memorize, I'm not great at that. I know that that's one of my weaknesses. But do it your way. Do the things that you enjoy doing, and when you start developing those habits and like making it easy for you to be able to go fishing, right? Like have your tackle ready to go, have it in your car, have it ready for you, so that you don't have to go through all that work to get there. If you love to go camping, have all your camping gear ready to rock and roll. Then you can go camping. So you need, before you're expecting anything to change or any new outcomes in your life, you need to figure out who you are, your identity. So work on that, easy way to do that, again, I've talked about journaling. You need to get your journal. I don't care what it comes in, what kind of book it is. You can obviously, obviously go to shopundivided.com or my website, I am undivided.com, and go to Shop Undivided. And I do have a journal on there for you to be able to purchase to get started. Otherwise, you can go to your local store, your local Dollar Tree, get a drawing book, and just start writing. It can be one sentence a day. How was your day, right? And just start that as a habit, and then you can start writing down the things that interest you, and we'll go through that. I plan to have a future episode about journaling and journaling topics, and some people might need multiple journals if you really start to really care about it. And the awesome part about it that I've found so far is that it's hard. But seriously, I'm starting to remember more stuff. I'm starting to remember the good stuff that does happen or the bad stuff that happens to avoid that later. The journaling is huge. So, outcomes before identity. Figure out who you are, my friend, and then you can start working towards a better outcome in your future. Confidence without discipline. Well, confidence comes from getting good at something that you enjoy. You become more confident because you're getting better at a skill, right? Whether it's lifting weights, whether it's, posture and the purpose of lifting weights and getting better at it, whether it's basketball, whether it's talking. I mean, like from episode 1 to this is number 7, I feel so much more confident because I just did it. I just had to start it. I have got so much in the works with this right now. I've got apps I'm working on for you guys to be able to use as tools. Um, but I had to just get started. So here we are. I'm going. And as we've come along, I've gotten better at looking at you. I've gotten better at speaking and uh, kind of staying on task. As you can see, I'm getting off task. Here we go. But getting good at something that you enjoy builds confidence. And once you start to have confidence, then you can start to build discipline in the things that you want to be good at. Do you want to get better at cooking? Do you want to get better at listening? Do you want to get better at managing your emotions? All of those things take practice, and being able to then build confidence, right? And then you can start with the discipline factor of it. Now, once the discipline comes, now you can get really, really good at it. Um, Find your interests. Like I said, you're going to see a lot of these things, how they're related. They just kind of fall back on itself. Boom, 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 boom. It sounds a little bit repetitive, but there's a reason for that, because habits require repetition. Habits require repetition to become something you enjoy to do. Your brain tries to find the easiest path to the easiest things. And if you make your path easy to your interests, bam, now you got a good habit. Now you have something you enjoy, and you're going to have a better outcome in life. So find your interests, become knowledgeable. We have all the answers at our fingertips every day, but instead, oftentimes, we're using our fingertip to scroll on through the videos, and that's cool and all. And there's some awesome videos out there. I'm guilty. I'm part of that scheme, but become knowledgeable about your interests, even on social media. Go out there, find the good people that you like, find the people that do the skills that you enjoy, start following them, start subscribing to their stuff, and start listening to stuff that really matters to you. Otherwise it's just going to start throwing junk at you, whether it's, bum fights or whether it's car accidents. Just recently, I had my feed trying to throw like really nasty and violent things at me, and I then had to go in and say not interested. I don't say disconnect from reality and don't believe that there are violent things, but I don't need to have a video of a guy getting shot coming up more than one time ever, because I understand what it is. I mean, you need to know reality is out there, but I don't need that reality to be right in my face in my kitchen when my kid's standing there, wondering what I'm watching. So use the internet, use AI, use it as a tool. You have all the information to become knowledgeable at whatever it is that you want to get good at. And then once you find the knowledge, then you go out and you practice that, right? You go out there and you start to build a skill and you become extremely skillful at it. Then you build your confidence and then you become more disciplined. And then that just kind of snowballs into what comes next is, okay, now I'm good at these things. I'm good at fly fishing. I'm good at snowboarding. I'm good at whatever it is. Then you build relationships in your life, whether that's a relationship with friends, um, whether that's a relationship, a romantic relationship with somebody, or marriage down the road to the person that you feel as though you love with all your heart, hopefully. Um, and you develop leadership, right? So once you start to get this discipline in your life, now you're good at some stuff. Now you're good at the life that you're trying to build. You're good at managing your emotions. You're good at coaching baseball. You're good at whatever it is. Now you can develop these leadership skills. And when you become a leader, people will follow you, and they will enjoy to spend time around you. There's a difference between a leader and somebody who's just trying to utilize their ego and trying to control people. That's different. Leadership allows for room for error and room for helping other people, not controlling other people. Because if you're there to help them and you're there to lead and you're good at something and they trust you, leadership feels like $1,000,000. And if you build leadership, then marriage and relationships, whether friendships or romantic, whatever it may be, those are going to flourish. So if you don't know what interests you, figure it out. Find out what you enjoy doing. Again, it's out there. Um, if you haven't spent time, following after these interests, you can't build your confidence, um, and you can't develop this leadership role that you need to have a successful future, successful marriage. Even if you're already in a marriage, I talk about a lot of future here. Will you even still have a future in your marriage? Is it bumpy? Is it not working out the way that you want it to because you're having a hard time finding the things that you enjoy doing? And the awesome part is that if you are already married and you do have children, your children don't know how to do anything yet, for the most part. And even if you're not very good at fishing or you're not very good at, riding a bicycle far, I'm going to say that you're probably better than your child is. And you can practice being a leader with them and showing them how to be successful at a skill that you enjoy. You can build together. Um, I did that with snowboarding in my family. I knew how to snowboard and they had no idea, and I taught them. And boy, it was a rough season. But after I taught them how to do it, it was the best thing that I ever did. And now we can go do that stuff together as a family. Um, Getting away from your family shouldn't be your goal in life. If that's how you feel, then I think that you need to develop some new interests as an adult to go and spend time with your family. That's just me, but um, you got to build your family. You got to be a leader. You got to take them and go do stuff. Um, and you got to try to, use your family as what it's supposed to be, a building block for your future and theirs. Um, but if you have trouble with that, please reach out and we can talk. So from there, you build your leadership, and that helps with your marriage and your relationships, whether friendship or romantic. And then you think about purpose, you having purpose in life without that responsibility. Um, and the ultimate responsibility is your family. You can try to say that it isn't, and if you can't have a family, if that's not something that is possible for you, which I know that there are cases where that is the case, you can lean into your religion. You can lean into volunteering. If you are in a relationship where you are married to somebody and you're incapable of having children, there are children out there that need you. I can assure you that. So one can build a family still. It may not be what you exactly thought it was going to be because life throws you curveballs often, but you can still have a family and develop that ultimate purpose. So, to have purpose without your responsibilities being intact, taking care of your business, taking care of and having your values in line, um, it's hard to get to that purpose point, right? So each of these values, your identity, your discipline, leadership, and purpose, um, these are the things that are going to drive you to becoming a successful man and developing a positive masculinity. Um, because once you develop that masculinity, it stays forever. Nobody can take that away from you, and you can just grow and build for the rest of your life. If you're the guy out there that's working for retirement, I'm sorry to hear that. Um, just live and enjoy and just keep learning, because if you don't, then your brain's going to fall out of your head when you're old, and that's going to be tough for you. It might happen anyways. So, um, but most men want what they don't have, right? And so if there's something out there, a family or whatever that you don't have, um, or that truck or that boat that you want, right? Like most guys will do anything to get those things. Um, and you just need to put in the effort to achieve them. So if you have bad habits and you're not following, these guidelines of doing it the proper order, don't live life backwards, right? If you're willing to do almost anything for that new dirt bike, you're willing to do almost anything for that new house or boat or whatever. The ultimate purpose in life is a successful family and to build familial wealth, right? Like wealth, again, I've said this before, I'll say it again. Wealth doesn't always mean money. It can be teaching your children how to function in this world better than you were taught, um, because we all have hurdles. And if you can bounce over these hurdles and you can teach your children how to develop better, that's the ultimate purpose, is to give your family that future. And if you're willing to do almost anything for the mundane in life, then you should be willing to just about give up everything to build your family up. And all you got to do is put in a little extra effort sometimes, and develop new habits to get there. Um, so, like I said, most men want what they don't have. They'll do almost anything to have it. And if you put in a little effort, it can be yours, whatever it may be. I hope it's family, but it doesn't need to be. Um, Another thing, to get there, right? You need to develop standards. You have to have lifelong standards, and that is the beginning of self-respect. So if you don't respect yourself and you don't have any standards, positive standards of living, it's hard to move on to the next level of life and becoming that better version or that better masculine individual that you would like to be, and to have all the things that we just talked about. Um, so starting with your standards, personal standards, you like this right here. If I came on this show and, I know some of you are just listening in, but every once in a while you might actually tune in with video. Now, if I came on here and I was sitting here trying to tell you how to live, and I was a big slobby mess, um, and I, just looked undone, and some days I am, And some days I feel that way. Um, but if I don't have any personal standards and I'm trying to tell you how to live, are you going to listen to me? Okay. Well, put that in your court, right? Go stand and look in the mirror and say, oh, I could do a little better at this. I could do a little bit. Set some standards. Set your own personal standards. Health. Are you exercising? Are you getting up off your butt? Other than work, because your body gets used to the daily grind and you got to go above and beyond that in order to become healthy. Hygiene. Do you smell like a foot? Do you? um Another person, honesty. Are you honest to yourself? Are you, and that's part of this right now, right? Like, be honest with yourself. Stand there and say, okay, I need this. I need to change. I need to brush my teeth more often. I need to comb my hair every day. I need to take care of my business. Um, your friends that surround you, that's a personal standard. Are you going to hang out with the ones that are going to drag you down? Are you going to try to hang out with the people that are going to lift you up? Who are you hanging out with? And sometimes you can mix match those people, in a setting amongst others, a group setting. That's easy to do. But if you're going to go hang out with the people that are going to take you to the bar and belly up every day, um, I don't think that's where you want to be if you want to make these positive changes in your life. If you don't want to make any positive changes in your life and you're just fine the way that you are and your standards are the standards that you want, and I sound like a fool, I'm surprised you're here in episode 7. So let's go there. So surround yourself with the people that you want that you emulate, the people that have the attitude that you want to have. And then the attitude, right? Bam. If you're going to wake up every day and say, oh, I hate my job. Maybe make a change, right? Like, if you hate your job, make a change. If you hate the way your life is happening and you're tired of the way that you feel every day, start making some changes. It does not all have to happen in one day. It's not going to. If you do that, you're going to fail every single time. If I'm like, I'm going to become a professional soccer player and I go practice for one day, we all know what's going to happen. I don't even have to talk about it. You're not going to do good. All right. Next is boundaries. These are your standards, right? Personal standards. Next are boundaries. You got to have boundaries for yourself and the people around you. Toxic behaviors. You got to have a boundary. Can you control your toxic behaviors? Yes or no? If you cannot control them, and that's like drugs, alcohol, um, food intake, your vices with food. I love ice cream. I could sit and eat an entire quart of ice cream every single day, but I try to stick to maybe a spoonful just to satisfy that little urge, right? Um, and so the toxic behaviors, you got to have boundaries. You need to set them for yourself, whether you need to write them down in your journal. And a lot of this stuff is great stuff. Write it down. Write these things down. We'll go over it. I'm going to have a journal. In the future, I'm going to have an episode about journaling and how to do it productively. I'm still working on it. I'll show you how not to do it. I know that for sure. But we'll work on some of the productive ways to do that. Again, I have got every answer at the tips of my fingers, and I can help you find these things and help make it a little bit easier. Toxic people. You do not need to let the toxic people in your life that come and ruin you. Just because you love them doesn't mean you have to like them. And that's hard sometimes. You want to, I know it. I feel it. I've dealt with it in my life. I deal with it today. But the toxic people, you do not need to let that snake keep biting you. Keep them at an arm's length or 2 or 3. I don't know, whatever. However, you need to set that boundary with those people. You know where you need to keep them. And it doesn't mean that you need to hate them. It doesn't mean that you need them to be completely omitted from your life. But, you got to kind of know where you can take it. Positive and negative self-talk, boundaries. You start to talk crap about yourself. There's already a whole world out there that can do that for you, right? Like, go online and make a suggestive comment one time and see the snakes come slithering out of the grass. It's pretty wild. When I first started up, I had a when I first started going after this whole thing, the idea of a podcast, I was utilizing AI to try to develop a logo and an idea, and you tell it what you want, and it'll make you feel like every idea you have is a good idea. Well, not every idea is a good idea. I started out, I had this logo, and I just thought it looked so cool, and it was about faith and family and country, and I put it out there, and I boosted it just a little bit, and holy smokes, there are some people that came out, and I mean, like, hatred, pure and utter hatred for it, right? So you're going to be able to find enough people out there that are going to talk crap, talk negatively about you. So don't do it to yourself, right? Try to be positive. Even on a bad day, like, you're going to have that thought, man, today sucks, or boy, I don't think I can do it. You gotta, as soon as those things come uttering out of your mouth or through your mind, you need to get in there and say, no, 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 no. I'm going to have a good day today. I know it may not be the best day, but it's going to be a good one. And I'm going to change that. And you need to self-talk positively, set that boundary. Sometimes you are going to talk poorly about yourself, and maybe you made a mistake and you're an idiot for it, right? And you sinned and you missed the mark. That happens to the best of us, but work on your positive self-talk. Um, Toxic people, loved ones, the people around you. We already talked about it. You need to figure out where they land on the arm's length away or not. It depends. And so, I'm sure I'm at somebody else's arm length from my past as well, right? Because if you're willing to try to grow and you're willing to change, you're going to have people that met you at a different time in your life, and they're like, okay, he's this now. Or they don't know who you are today. They don't know the things that you've done today, but they do remember you from the day that they crossed you. And you can meet one person that's going to say, boy, he really was a pile of garbage. And you might meet somebody else that says, no, he was one of the nicest people I've ever met. Depends on who they met, right? So just set yourself some good boundaries. Habits. That one is a big, big deal. That's kind of the whole premise of this. Whether it's exercise or laziness, which one are you going to choose? Sometimes it feels really good to just sit down and relax. Um, but if you're doing that every single day, that becomes laziness. Your brain will take that. It'll take it and it'll run with it, but not. See what I did there? So, also comes with habits, cooking healthy, eating healthy. Or are you going to just go home and devour an entire bag of Doritos, which sounds delicious? But all this junk food these days, I'm not here to be the guy that knows everything about junk food and nutrition. I try to do my best myself, but the junk food, the prepackaged foods, they just aren't the same foods that we grew up with. They're not the same foods that your parents grew up with or your grandparents grew up with. They're not the same food. Just because it says it, it's not true. There's a lot of really bad stuff in it these days to make it so that these large companies can profit more. I don't really want to get into it. And it's to feed the masses, right? If you got a loaf of bread that never goes bad, that's pretty cool, right? Um, it definitely controls your overhead. So cooking healthy or cooking poorly, eating junk food, I notice too when I do eat junk food, it makes me extremely lethargic. Food hangovers are a real thing. It's not just drinking, or using drugs. I mean, eating terrible food, it gives you a food hangover. Me, anyways. Maybe I'm susceptible to that. But once you start to eat a little more healthy, you'll feel it. Substance abuse and impulse controls, right? Substance abuse. Can you control it or not? Substance use. Let's start there. Is it substance use or is it substance abuse? And there's so many different facets. If it's meth, then I'm guessing it's abuse. If it's marijuana, it can certainly be abuse or it could be use. Can you control it? I know that I cannot control, for the most part, I cannot control my marijuana intake. My brain just loves it, craves it, and I know that I just can't have it. I just can't have it around. Otherwise, if it's here, it's gone, and I'm consuming it, and it's preventing me from being the best version of myself. Alcohol for me is something that during COVID, I abused it. When I was younger, I lived in, a college drinking town that I abused it for sure. But I've always had the ability, my impulse control to not drink if I want to. Uh, I'm lucky there, right? Like some people just can't control themselves and just have to drink, 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 drink. And like I said, that's me with marijuana. So I just can't have marijuana in my life. It's just the end of that story, even though it's becoming illegal everywhere. Um, but that doesn't change anything. I know I need to know my habits. I need to know my boundaries with the toxic behaviors and toxic things around me. And then integrity. So your integrity. Are you the person that you say you are? I, in my past, was good at embellishing. I was good at trying to purvey that I was a different individual than I am, um, to get the best outcome from the person that was standing in front of me at the time. And we're all good at that. We're all great at being somebody be like, "How's your day going?" And you could have just like had the worst moment of your life, sobbing in your car, pulled it together, and you're standing in front of this person, whether they're from work or a stranger, and you tell them, "Oh, everything's just fine. It's good. It's good. It's good." Because to drop a giant grenade into a conversation with somebody who's not prepared for it, that's really difficult too, and it'll make somebody run for the hills. But just be the person that you are. You know, everybody is just the person that they are. Embellishing stories, trying to sound cooler than you are, um, go for it. It's gonna be hard to keep up with that, and I know the feeling. I know that there's been times in my life where I've embellished or told blatant lies or white lies to try to prevent or to like skirt an issue. Almost every time it comes back, right? Like not always. There's times where it doesn't, and you might have dodged a bullet there, but chances are likely it was a pretty surface level relationship or whatever it might have been, that would have gotten you that outcome. And are you like lying to people for no reason because you think that maybe they're going to think a thing? Well, you don't know that. You're not them. They might have gone through the exact same situation, or they, your story might be, your normal regular you might be the coolest thing they've ever heard. You just don't know that. So manipulating and lying, it can bite you in the butt every single time. And if they catch you, then good luck with that. Um, and are you being honest with yourself? You got to start with yourself. Are you being honest about who you are, your habits, all these things, right? Your personal standards, your boundaries, your habits, your integrity. Are you being honest with yourself? Because if you're not being honest with yourself, you might as well just sweep all this up and throw it right into the dustbin because it won't matter. You have to be honest with you first, and then you can turn that outward and be honest with the world and just be happy and excited that you get to start to change and grow and do cooler stuff. Then you'll have real good stories to tell, right? Go get good at something. Get really good at something, whatever it is, whatever your interest is, whatever it piques. I don't know. Maybe you love to crochet. I mean, there's some people that can do some stuff. And if somebody came to me, a dude came to me and said, "Dude, check out what I crocheted an entire camo outfit for deer hunting." There'd be a small part of me that'd be like, "Well, that's cool." But I mean, at the end of the day, it's cool. I could never do it. Never in a million years. There are some things out there that people love to do that I just can't get on board with, but we won't talk about that today. It'd be another day. Ready. Yes, sir. Integrity, when it comes to integrity and your standards for integrity, those things are set by you and who you are trying to develop. Um, if you set your standards to a point that's just, I mean, even if you, you know, your personal standards, you said, okay, I got crappy friends, I got a crappy attitude, I lie, um, I smell like a foot, but you know what? I'm going to start working out. Step one. And then you can be like, wow, this working out thing's great. But I smell like a foot. But now since I've worked out, I smell like a dirtier foot. Let's work on my hygiene a little bit. I'm going to get my hair cut a little more often, or I'm going to make sure that I'm, bathing as often as I should, or whatever it is, dude. I'm not going to tell you how to go take a shower, but you can figure it out. You have the internet, they'll show you. Um, so setting your standards will develop your integrity, and that's set by you, right? Your standards are set by you. You can take advice from me, you can take advice from the world, but you're the one that has to set those standards and abide by them. One standard at a time. You do not have to do it all overnight. If you can, tell me how you did it, and I'll share the story, and maybe we could change the world together. But let's get after it. Let's make some changes, and some of the things that I've worked on changing, uh, like as far as like work ethic is concerned, I think work ethic is big. Um, you can use work to get ahead in life, but you don't want to use work to avoid it, right? Workaholism is pretty deadly as far as it's concerned when it comes to your family and your friendships. If all you're doing is working, you can't develop any of those skills. You can't develop any new skills. You can't get good at them. You can't build confidence. You can't build, your leadership. You can't build your family. You can't build, if you might, maybe you can build a house. Cool. Um, is that house going to make you feel better later on? No, because if you can't share it with anybody, then what's it worth? So work ethic's huge. So you obviously work on getting out there and working and building a life around it. But don't use it to avoid life. Get a job when you're young. If you're young now, if you're young and you're like, oh, I need to get out there and I'm going to make a ton of money. I want to do this. Go get a job. It's entry level. Boy, they're paying a lot for minimum wage these days. But either way, having a job when you're young is huge. It's crucial. It's awesome. And if you played sports when you were young, utilize that drive to develop a good work ethic, because you're gonna have to work the rest of your life. If you think we're gonna live in a utopia where all your bills are paid, like you hear on the internet, oh, AI is gonna make it so it's an option to work. Yuck. Because if you decide not to work, what are you going to be? I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Wall-E. It's about a little robot that crushes garbage into little squares, and human beings leave Earth, and they're all big, flabby things that float around on these chairs. Um, when I first saw that movie, I was like, "That's wild," and now I'm looking around saying, "Yikes, that might be real." So AI might be able to just give you an income that you can just survive off of, but even still, like go get good at something and work and enjoy it and get ahead. Um, Hard work is, I used to be a workaholic. I mean, I still kind of am, but I try to balance my family with that now. That's why I'm doing this, I built a construction company. I was on the verge of taking it to the next level, but I felt as though I was losing my time with my family. Um, that doesn't mean that I'm lazy or that my work ethic went away. My work ethic has shifted to I'm working on my family and my business, but I'm not putting my business over my family. Someday my kids are going to grow and they're going to be off doing their own thing. And then I can really lean into a career, and or not even a career, but like a business, and really go gangster on it. And with that, like I've said before in previous episodes, I think last episode is, um, the vast majority of first time millionaires don't become millionaires until they're, nearly 50 years old. And that's about the time my youngest is going to graduate. And then I can really lean into that and be proud of what I did as a dad. Um, and, with work ethic, there comes, you know, working on substance use and abuse. and whether you can control it or not. Like I talked just a minute ago, I'm not trying to double talk, but I I have a really hard time controlling myself with marijuana, with pot. Love the smell, love the taste, love, my brain says that all, right? It says, oh, you love it. That's addiction. And I know that I can't control it. So I need to keep a boundary there. And I've worked really hard to do that. I gave up the use of marijuana last year for Christmas. I gave it up to the Lord. That's what giving up is. People think that giving up is just giving up on anything, a job, a this, or that. Giving up is truly giving up bad habits or sins of life, giving it up to the Lord. And that's what I did. And I have been happier. Um, and don't lie to yourself about it. If it's a problem, if it's causing negative effects in your life, substances are causing it's obviously a problem, and you need to try to work at doing something about that. Whether it's getting involved with a recovery program, whether it's AA, or there's recovery programs at almost every single church out there. Probably at your church if you are attending. If you're not attending church, I highly suggest it. I hope that the churches that are around you welcome you to them, because having community is just wonderful. And they should be trying to bring the lost in and help develop them into the saved, and equipping them to be able to help the lost. Um, Thank you, Pastor Bob. And if you do have substance abuse issues, you need to find help. Whatever that looks like for you. It's different for everybody, but you can start with going and seeing your doctor and talking to them about it. You can contact various drug and alcohol abuse companies out there. Like I say, Alcoholics Anonymous. There's drug use and help. I'll put some of these into the description so that you can easily access them as usual. Another big deal on things that I've been working on changing that are helpful to this whole dynamic, small habits, right? How are you speaking to others? How are you speaking about others? But speaking to others, I grew up, in a broken home, and I grew up working in the food and beverage industry and construction. Tell me that you don't learn how to swear like a sailor doing those things. So big thing that I've been working on really hard, and you might even notice it as the episodes go on. I was given a little constructive criticism because it's important, and swearing. I'm doing my best to give it up. I still do it from time to time outside of speaking with new people around me or family or whatever. But you got to start somewhere. But swearing is a tough one to give up these days, just because I don't know. It's easy. It's fun. It's great descriptors. Sometimes, if you really want to emphasize something, we all know what to say. But I'm working really hard at not swearing anymore, and it's not easy right away. But I feel better and better about it every single day. Um, and that's what I've done is I've reduced the amount I'm swearing, and I've tried to be better about positive self-talk and positive talk in general, and giving people a little bit of grace out there in the world, because when you're in your own little world, it's easy to judge and gossip, being judgmental and gossiping about other people's dirty laundry. I've been guilty of it. I know people who are guilty of it. It happens frequently in many people's lives, but gossip is a sin. And a sin is a term used for archery. It's where you miss the mark. Sin. And I learned that from Jordan Peterson. If you don't know who Jordan Peterson is, he's an extremely smart individual, and a psychotherapist, and he just does great work. I'm going to be signing up for his education too, Peterson Academy. I think it's pretty cool. Look into that if you don't want to go to college but you want to learn some stuff. It's a cheap and easy way to enlighten yourself and become more knowledgeable. But sin, gossip is a sin. It betrays others' trust. It ruins people's reputations, and it drives friends apart. if you want to have a good life and surround yourself with good people, um, try to give up gossip. Try to give up swearing. Try to give up the gossip. Try to give up talking trash about people behind their backs. Sometimes, it's just telling a story about something. But if you're utilizing that information and you're telling the world somebody's private information that they bestowed upon you, um, or had been bestowed upon you by somebody that is in close contact with these people, it can ruin somebody's life. People have a lot going on and people make mistakes, and if they're trying to fix it, gossip can tear people apart. So let's work on eliminating that and building each other up rather than tearing each other down. um, it's easy to go on and feel good about trashing somebody for doing something stupid on the line and being one of those trolls and being a jerk. Um, but instead, maybe give them, if you know the answer or you know what needs to be done differently, give them some good advice, positive reinforcement. Try to start building them up rather than tearing them down. Fill your world with positivity, um, starting with yourself. Um, but when it comes to speaking or swearing or about others, one of my Achilles heels is driving. Oh man. I try really hard to be a great driver, but I do make mistakes myself. But some people just don't know how to get behind the wheel. They just hand out driver's licenses willy nilly. And there's times where I catch myself saying some pretty hurtful things, and there's children's ears around. And I've been working super duper hard to not quite go down the road that I can easily go down. And one of the last things that is really important in changing your behavior is how you carry yourself. Do you wake up every day with this negative talk, continually using substances, having a poor work ethic, or are you going to wake up with your chest held high, ready to work on your interests, work on your skills, work on your knowledge, work on becoming a better individual when it comes to your hygiene, your health, your personal standards? If you start working on these things one thing at a time, before you know it, you will carry yourself in a much better and more positive way. And that's how I feel these days myself. I've always wanted to help others. Ever since I was young, I remember when people would come to like your high school and be a motivational speaker. I used to sit there, and I'd be like, "God, I could do that. I would love to do that. I would love to help people." And here I am. I'm doing it. I may have a small audience today, but I pray every day that I can build a bigger and bigger audience and make a difference in people's lives. But I couldn't earlier in my life carry myself to a standard that I would be able to do this and be in front of you and try to motivate you to become a better person for yourself. I wasn't there. And now I feel like I am. I feel good about life. I feel good about trying to make myself better and the people around me. And I want to carry myself with confidence and integrity and know where I really stand and being honest with myself and others around me. Sometimes, you know, omitting things doesn't mean I'm being dishonest. Maybe omissions, things that I don't want to talk about, have to do with possibly harming others. And that's not what the goal is here. The goal is to help others, not to harm. But, getting beyond all that, um, getting into a point where, you do a lot of these things we've talked about, you need to then lean into the idea that, um, where are we? Sorry. That discipline is where you're going to get to, right? And that's the second stage of this, right? Like faith, discipline, and adventure. The adventure aspect is coming, I promise you. I'm going to be working on an entire episode about it. I was thinking about episode 10, and kind of getting into some of the stuff that I've gone and done and gotten good at and outwardly have started to become skillful at, and that's helped me get to where I am today. But discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you can become. Um, that discipline and waking up every day with purpose, waking up every day um, with consistency. Um, so it's building consistency in your life. If you're going to be changing the way that you're doing things, consistency is key. Change one thing a day, one thing a week, but be consistent about that thing that you're trying to change, and you'll get there. That's discipline. Structuring your life in a different way. If it feels like you're just on a terrible carnival ride every day, then you need to restructure some stuff. Again, it's like people going on crash diets or saying, I'm going to lose 50 pounds in a week. All right. Um, but building a new structure around you and working for the delayed gratification, because if you can delay the delayed gratification is working for something today for the future, right? You're working your butt off today, saving your money or exercising or whatever it is. Like you're working hard today for a payoff in the future. That's delayed gratification. Children are absolutely horrendous about that. There's a video out there where a psychologist takes and they have children. Children are just delayed gratification monsters. They don't know how to do it. They're not good at it. I'm sure there's an exception to every single rule, but they give them, they're like, okay, here, kiddo, here's one marshmallow. Um, you can have this one marshmallow right now, or if you wait 10 minutes, I'll give you 10 marshmallows. I'm paraphrasing, but that's the idea, or an hour, or whatever it is. 9 times out of 10, that little kid's going to snatch that single marshmallow instead of waiting 10 minutes to get 10 of them. Don't act like a child. Don't act like that child that you were in your past, the one that you can't let go of. And be prepared for some delayed gratification. Exercising on a daily or every other day, or more often than you are now, you might lose a little weight in the beginning, but then it's going to take time. It took years to get there. It can take years to get it back, and that's with any negative habit that you've developed over the years. Is it might take a couple tries. You might slip and fail. You might try to quit drinking and you end up drinking again. That is a very, very real thing. Relapse is real, whatever it may be, the bag of Doritos, or alcohol or marijuana. I tried to quit smoking pot. I don't even know how many times, a bunch. Um, and it took me many times, and finally I kicked it, and I'm good. I'm good with it. I'm happy about it. Um, and I tell myself, well, maybe someday you can smoke one with somebody in the future. I don't. I've accepted that I'm not gonna. And as long as you accept that, and you're like, nope, I'm done. I got a friend of mine, Mark is his name. He quit drinking many years ago and decided that I'm done. And it's hard because you think, okay, if I'm drinking around this person, is it gonna push them to get back to it? Well, a person that has decided and made that decision, they're not going back to it. Then that's huge. And so consistency, structure, your delayed gratification, and doing the hard things in life, right? It's easy to let your gutters overflow and trees start growing out of them. It's hard to get on a ladder and clean them out. But you got to start identifying these things around you, a little bit of the rot that's happening, and make a list of those things and complete them one at a time, and do the hard things that are out there, and make it work for you. Um, I'm developing something. I'm developing a system here, and it's taking a little bit of time, and I want it to come out, and I want it to be right. I want it to be correct the first time, which it won't be. But I'm going to do my best to make it as correct as I can. I'm building I'm building a framework for this whole venture, Undivided. Um, people may be confused about what undivided really means. It's really about having an undivided heart, um, and knowing who you are, and keeping yourself whole, and getting out there and making yourself a better whole individual. Uh, it'd be nice if we could all get along every day, every person, the utopia idea of it. And I know people that have different views than I do that won't ever talk to me ever again because of those views. I'm not saying that you're going to be able to undivide all these people out there, but you can at least keep your own heart and your own soul undivided, and become a whole person, and find others that are the same, and rebuild this community of ours, um, one person at a time. That's the goal. But and the rebuilding part of it, right? I've rebuilt my life three different times. You know, when I was a child, when I was young, pulling my bootstraps up and graduating high school and moving on, and rebuilding my life with my first child and the family that I was trying to build there, and it falling apart, and the businesses that I had, and finally rebuilding myself up one last time for my wife and my current life and my children. Um, I hope I don't have to rebuild again. I mean, like, businesses is one thing, but rebuilding your entire life is another. Taking yourself from rock bottom, fella can only do that so many times before it becomes pretty daunting. But that's why we're here. Um, Starting new behaviors, starting new habits, starting new businesses, starting new ventures, starting new skills, starting new habits, starting new hobbies, growing. That's what this is about. Growing into an undivided and whole person. That's the key. Um, Rebuilding my marriage. It it was never awful, but it was on the verge, in my eyes. And I don't know if my wife completely agrees with me, and we talk about it and keep things pretty up on the, try to talk about everything we possibly can. But, you know, after COVID, and I was drinking a lot and acting foolish and hanging out with some of the wrong people still, having that self destruct mentality that I used to have. There was a couple times where things got a little bit dicey, and we weren't spending time together, and we weren't talking, and I was talking to people that I shouldn't have been, and being a fool. But I'm lucky that I'm blessed that I didn't have to rebuild it from absolute nothing. But I was sucking at life a little bit. I didn't have the self-respect that I needed to have, that I've built over these years. And recovering from all of that, and getting here has been a challenge, but I want you to know it's possible. It's possible to go from rock bottom, sitting in a jail cell as a dumb kid, making mistakes over and over along the way, losing parts of your life that you wish you could have held on to, and rebuilding that from, not having a car and having to ride a bicycle as a grown man, having to, try to eliminate terrible habits out of your life, and recovering from that. It's possible, and I know that you can do it, and I'm here to help, and I'm here to be a trusting ear for you to talk to. So feel free to reach out at my website, contact me, and send me a message, and I'd like to hear it. I really, really would. I'd like to share stories if you'd like me to, and see where we can go with it. But developing this discipline, discipline and developing new habits is how you build trust in yourself, even when you fail. Discipline and developing new habits. Because if you're going to develop new habits, you're going to fail along the way, but you just got to keep disciplined, and decide on it, and you get there 100% of the time if you keep at it and develop new habits with discipline. And when you're building all these parts and pieces, and I know that there's always a lot of information, I'd like to get a little bit more grounded, where there's not so much info, but it's just the way that this is. If it was easy, everybody'd be just the baddest version of themselves every day. But building all these pieces that we've talked about here in previous episodes, like, you know, fixing the child inside, and learning where your adult behaviors came from, and that you don't need to continue them, that you can repair those because you aren't that child anymore, and developing these new skills and new habits and new forms of life. It builds a masculine character. You've heard too many times out there, oh, toxic masculinity, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there's toxic masculinity out there. Um, we know who those guys are. I don't really want to throw anybody under the bus, but I think that you can think of at least a character or two that's out there that just spews toxic masculinity. But it's not even toxic masculinity. They're just bad people, right? But they just happen to be guys. And people are like, oh, that's toxic masculinity. No, that's just being, excuse me, but that's just being a dick. That's just being a terrible person. It doesn't have anything to do with masculinity. It has to do with those people sucking and trying to make money off of people and say that this is the way to live. And again, I could throw their names out there right now. And then I could use that as clickbait. And I'm doing everything I can in this world right now to not be a part of that problem. Clickbait's garbage. I could all day long, you see stuff on social media where somebody says something and all they're looking for is people to start yelling and screaming with their keyboard. And it's so gross. I'm so tired of it. I'm not putting those people's names out there, and I'm not going to use it as clickbait because I'm trying to build something from the ground up that's real. Come with me, please. I know you're sick of it too. You can go out there, you can find all that trash if you want to, but you can come with me and rebuild your life and be a good person. Um, if you want to, it's up to you. So masculinity is a key to a man's survival. Um, Developing these boundaries, these new habits, developing standards in your life that are positive, that keep you feeling good. Cleanliness is close to godliness, and masculinity is right there with it. But masculinity oftentimes is misinterpreted, um, as like having a big ego, being the dominant person in the room, or acting tough. Masculinity isn't that. Somebody can try to argue that fact, but I'll stand on my rock. I'll stand on this pedestal and tell you that they're wrong without a doubt. If you got a big ego and you don't give any room for anybody else and you try to dominate the room, it's one thing to just be a character and have a good time. And if it naturally occurs that you're a leader, people are going to follow you. But if you walk into a room and you demand respect, or I command the room. I work my best to command, not demand. There's a difference. If you don't know it, we'll figure it out. But with masculinity comes these things here: responsibility, emotional control, leadership, reliability, protection, and sacrifice. So, responsibility is taking care of your business, taking care of your house, taking care of your vehicles, wash them. You see the guys driving around with the trucks that are just rusted out all over the place, and they're like, just Minnesota winters. Yeah, right. You're just lazy. You're not taking care of your business. You're not taking care of your responsibilities. And that's just your truck. If you can't even take care of your truck, how are you going to be able to raise kids? Take care of your business. Take responsibility in the things that you are doing, in the things that you do on a daily basis. Emotional control. Learn how to control that monster inside. Identify them. Every guy's got a monster inside, man. Identify that monster, learn to control that monster, and go out there and kill it. Crush that world. Have that emotional control. It's all right to have to live your life instead of on emotions, intensity and getting out there. Um, Obviously, there's a line to be drawn everywhere. Boundaries, remember, but having intensity and purpose and direction in life, and you have that monster, that emotional monster under control, then you can go out there and you can crush the world in a positive way. And if you got that monster under control, you're going to develop leadership amongst the people around you. They're going to respect you. They're going to see that you got your ducks in a row. It makes me think of Jeeps. Ugh. Anyway, if you got a Jeep, good for you. Um, get rid of the ducks. It's really just, to me, it's stupid. But leadership is a key to happy relationships and especially happy marriages. Because if you lead your household and you have a good woman by your side, you're the head and she's the neck. She controls where you go in a positive way, please. But you work together and you lead your household in a positive way, and you'll be unstoppable as a couple. Um, Having reliability and that having that leadership, generally reliability comes with it. But if you have reliability, if you're a reliable individual, you're a reliable father, you're a reliable husband, everyone knows it. And it's not just showing up, it's actually being present in your family, being present in your family's lives, in your children's lives, and protection. Who doesn't want to protect their family, right? Like I said before, protecting your family is key. Everybody says that they're willing to die for their family, but go out there and live for them instead and give them that protection, the reliability, the leadership, the emotional control, the responsibility in your everyday. You can have a day off, man. I'm not saying that you got to go out there and constantly thug and be a workaholic. You can have a day off. You can go and hang and swing in a frigging hammock in the middle of the woods with your family and just love life. But make sure that you're working on this stuff and the sacrifice that it takes, the time and the energy that you need to put into it all. It sometimes seems like a lot, but it's worth every second. One of my main things to sacrifice every once in a while is that, my kid will be like, Dad, you want to play catch? I just got back to being able to play catch because I just had spine surgery and I got to finally play catch with my kid again. It was wonderful. I missed it so much. I still can't throw hard yet, but it's whatever. But one of my main mantras in life when it comes to my family, one of the main mantras in life when it comes to my family is I've got 10 minutes for you. 10 minutes. If you can't find 10 minutes for your kid, you can't find 10 minutes for your wife, you can't find 10 minutes for the people around you that matter, you might need to reflect on your priorities and go back through all this. And again, you might slip. You might be doing really great for a month or a week or a year or whatever it is, how the amount of time, and next thing you know, you see yourself kind of stumbling back into to some bad habits and whatever. You gotta be honest with yourself and identify this stuff. So don't forget, masculinity is not having a big ego. It is not being the dominant person in the room. It is not acting tough. Acting tough and being tough, people can spot that every single time. It's about being present. It's about being emotionally available and emotionally steady, right? Controlling that monster and doing everything you can to be successful in your life. Be present, be emotionally steady, and hold yourself accountable. Accountability is the key. You're going to screw up. It's going to happen. You have to hold yourself accountable. You're going to screw up and you have to hold yourself accountable. And if you do that, it allows you to dip, dive, duck, and dodge, right? And you're going to be able to slowly create these habits that are going to stay and they're going to stick. So you got to hold yourself accountable. And, and if you can do that, the leadership starts with you and it helps create your home. Leadership, it starts with you and it helps create a home, not just a house, not just a place where people try to grow up, not just a place that you go and lay your head, but a home. Because if you build yourself from the ground up with the things that we talk about, you will be powerful. You will be confident. You will be a masculine individual. You will be a leader and you will find somebody to share that with. Your marriage will be a success. Your family will see you. And your presence amongst the ones that you love will be known. You won't be a crutch anymore. You'll be a pillar. And you'll be able to hold up the world and not struggle doing it. So become that pillar. Become that unbreakable, undivided, whole individual. If not for you, then for your family, for your children, for your friends, for God. Because perfection is meant only for Him. Your family needs stability. And that leads me into faith, because faith polishes that man that you built. Faith polishes and puts you in a direction of perfection. You'll never attain it, and that's okay. But faith has become an extremely important part of my life. I'm still learning. I hope to be able to have phenomenal, high-powered, great conversations about why faith is key and why faith exists and why it truly matters. And that's coming, but it takes time. I'm continuing every single day. I'm consistently reading this right here. I got the every man's Bible, it's called. It's pretty awesome. It kind of has a lot more in there than just the traditional Bible. This is the NIV, and it's well explained, and you can really understand it. It goes into more depth than most. Maybe we'll talk about that. But back to it. Like I said, faith polishes the man you have built. So you can do all the things that we talk about, and you can build this leader, you can build this masculine, controlled monster that can take on the world. But until you have God in your life, Jesus, it all seems kind of a little empty. Like I say, the love for your family is king and it's key, but the king himself, Jesus, is what really pulls that together. And to lead your family into faith, there's no better feeling. And find that church that you will like, and but don't be too judgmental. That's not our job, right? Discernment is our job. You can discern whether something's good or bad, but don't judge. Stop it. Not your job. But you have to, ground your identity in God. Because in Proverbs 19:2, desire without knowledge is not good. And that's what I'm I've been talking about. Desire without knowledge is not good. God is good. God is great. So if it's not good, I think you know where it stands. You got to get out there. You got to educate yourself. You got to become good at things. It's what we're here for. And it continues on. So desire without knowledge is not good. How much more will hasty feet miss the way? Um, so sin, right? I've talked about sin. Sin is missing the mark, missing the way, missing the target. Hasty feet, referring that you try to make money in a fast manner. You try to skip and hit the easy button somehow, some way. Um, so hasty feet, trying to cheat the system. What are you going to get out of that? Um, you won't be able to really learn who you are or what you're really capable of being good at. I can go online and I can just barf out a bunch of facts and stuff, and I might be doing some of that, but I'm doing my best to hold dear to authenticity and me and in real life. Because if you don't know who you are and you just keep rushing through life to no ends, how are you going to ever find out who you are? And how are you going to be able to, you know, how can you ask of the Lord if you don't know who you are or what you're meant to be? How can you build what you don't know? How can you trash what you don't know? If you sit there and say, well, religion, Christianity, but it's not for me. Well, I mean, what do you know about it? Maybe you do know about it. Maybe you went to church when you were a child, and you got a bad taste in your mouth because they made you do things that you didn't want to do. That's holding on to that child inside that fears things that they don't understand. Give it another shot. Give it another shot as an adult. You don't have to follow the same footsteps you were in before. Maybe you want to be a Lutheran. Maybe you want to be a Catholic. Maybe you want to go to a non-denominational. Um, maybe you want to be a Mormon. Everybody has their preference, but as long as Jesus Christ is the pinnacle and the center to that religion, I'm all in, man. It's better than not. I can tell you that. But the fact is that if you rush your purpose, if you try to juke the system, find the cheat code, you're going to miss the mark. The hasty feet will miss the way and you will sin. And you're going to sin and you're going to work on not sinning, but you're going to sin. We're born sinners, and patience is the key to life. Patience for yourself. Delayed gratification. Allowing yourself a little grace because God has ultimate grace. You could be a sinner your whole life and accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, and you'll be standing by his side if that's what you so desire. And somebody who doesn't want to stand by his side, somebody who doesn't want religion in their life, I respect you and I respect that. Because I don't want to spend the rest of my life with the devil by my side. And if you don't want to spend the rest of your life at God's side, then that's your choice and your prerogative. Because if you love sin and you love lust and you love chaos, then heaven might be your hell. And I can't change your belief on that, but shallow desires are that. And you'll break your neck. But slow down a little bit. The world flies by at a million miles an hour right now, and you need to fill yourself with knowledge and purpose and continue on with all this stuff. And the knowledge of, I mean, even if you don't understand the Bible, I tell you, it's one heck of a story. either way. Everybody reads all these novels and things like that, and they think it's impressive. I mean, that book right there is better than almost any novel, graphic novel, book that I've ever read. Um, it's one heck of a story. But when you decide to come to Christ, which I hope you do, don't worry about the doubters. Don't worry about the people around you that don't understand it. You don't have to, you know, drown them in your religion, but you can hold steadfast. I wear this baby on the outside just because I love to represent, and it makes some people uncomfortable. I don't care. They do things that make me feel uncomfortable too. I'm, you know, I can see the people out there, but don't worry about the doubters and show yourself God is with you. Open your eyes to the miracles that surround you every single day. The breath of life. Everything came from the word, right? Everything came from the word, and they continually start to tell us that everything lives on a frequency. Well, what are frequencies? The earth came from and was created through frequency. It is something that I've been hearing. Well, how did the word of God create this earth? Um, that's something for you to delve into a little bit, and maybe we will later on. But that, again, I'm not here to convince you of something that you don't believe in, but I am here to stand steadfast in my ways. And I was an atheist. I didn't believe in any of it up to 5 years ago. And now there's no way that I can unbelieve it. Nothing can come in my path to make me not believe in Jesus Christ and God. It's the way. I promise. It truly is. But I love spending time with you guys, and I could talk and talk and talk forever, but I can't, because you need to get on with your day. You need to get out there and start these new habits. You need to get out there and work on your boundaries in life, your standards in life, um, health and hygiene, and you need to work on finding the things and the hobbies that interest you and become skilled and knowledgeable and develop yourself a little bit of confidence and leadership and build a beautiful life and beautiful family around you. I was talking earlier that this whole thing is going to become a system. Um, and I hope you're a part of it. And if you're not, I hope that you tell the people that you feel need it to head my way. Um, I've got apps that I'm working on right now to build this whole system and to help direct people and, confirm and reaffirm their actions and what they're doing right and wrong. Um, it's coming. I don't want to spill the beans too soon, but I've got some stuff in the works right now that are going to be super helpful tools to help you find your path to an undivided and whole person. But I've got every episode I try to have a little bit of a question answer type thing going on for you. So you can, start your journey of accountability and discipline. So please get out your journal and write some of these down. Please, if you would. I'm not going to beg, please. But would you, okay, so would your future self trust you right now? Now, that's a tough one, right? So, first things first is you have to determine who you want to be. Um, and if you can't do that, if you're having a hard time picturing who you want to be and the life that you want to live and that person in the future, if you're having a hard time picturing that, so would your future self trust you right now? If you can't picture it and you don't know, I think an even better question, and this might help you answer the first one. Even better question would be, would the child you were trust you today? Because you know who you were and you know who you needed in life to become a better individual. If you were standing in front of you, would you become if you were standing in front of you, would you trust the person that you are? I kind of said that stupid. Would the child you were trust yourself today? Would your future wife feel safe with your current habits? You can also eliminate the future part. Would your wife feel safe with your current habits? And then finally, are your actions building your future or are you sabotaging your future? It's one or the other. I mean, it might be a mix of both. And take the time to write some of this stuff down. And like I say, begin your journaling journey because it matters. Life is easily forgotten if you don't keep track of it. So start your journal, even if it's just one sentence per day and it develops into more. Or if you had an exciting day or difficult day, it can help you think it through, get it out of your own brain, and give it 10 minutes of your day. 10 minutes. Sit down for 10 minutes. That's my rule. And it should become a mantra for you as well. Give it 10 minutes of your day. Whatever it is, if it's positive, if it's for your family, if it's for your child, if it's for your wife, if it's for yourself, 10 minutes, you got it. And I know you do. You know too. So we need to start today. You need to start by setting some new standards in life. Whether that's no phone for the first 30 minutes of being awake or exercising for 10 minutes or 30 minutes a day, um, starting to read and gain more knowledge. If you're not a reader, it's hard to start reading because you feel like you're supposed to be really good at it because you're an adult and you're supposed to retain all this information. Well, if you're not a reader, that's not going to go well for you. You just got to start reading. Try to find something that interests you. I'm going to get together list of some good literature that I found interesting with my crazy fast thinking brain. It needs to hit, otherwise I'm out. So start setting those standards, whatever it may be. And I'm working on a framework right now, and yeah, I just want to tell you, but I can't. And it's going to help you with all of this, I promise. So remove and setting your standards, and you need to start removing your weak habits. Start with the easy ones, right? Stop doom scrolling an hour before bed. Put a book in your hand, it'll make you fall asleep. Put a phone in your face and you'll stay awake forever, it feels like. Um, get rid of pornography. Start working on your substance abuse problems, whether that's alcohol or drugs, marijuana, food. Start building structure. Work on a new routine. Again, it can just be one thing at a time. Wake up in the morning, your new routine determines your whole day. Um, Instead of pulling that phone out and scrolling, I have a hard time with that, but I'm doing better each day. Use your downtime for new hobbies and educating your brain and becoming a better version of you. Start telling the truth. Um, Nobody can read your mind. What am I thinking? Go. You're wrong. Because you can't read my mind. I was thinking about how cows moo and pigs oink. It's not really true, but you can't read my mind and I can't read yours. Tell people how you're really feeling. Like, say you got a job and you're not loving certain aspects of it, whether you're not getting enough hours or you're too many hours or your schedule's too wacky. If you don't say anything, your boss thinks everything's just fine. If you don't say anything to your wife, I mean, your attitude can be junk and they can kind of tell there's something wrong, but they're never going to be able to tell what you're mad about or what the problem is if you just don't say it. Tell the truth to yourself and stop giving yourself coping ideas. Stop lying to yourself about how things make your life better. Or it makes, like pot makes you more creative, or it helps me relax, or, uh, just coping ideas that just don't really make sense. Start taking responsibility in your life. That goes back to telling the truth and being honest with yourself, taking responsibility for your actions and stop blaming other people. And if you start taking responsibility for these actions, that's the first step to change anyway. Um, you won't become a better man overnight. You become a better man one decision at a time. Let me say that again. You won't become a better man overnight. You become a better man one decision at a time. And if this stuff here hits home for you, it hits home for somebody you love, your their future depends on the choices that they make today. So let's start with one and see where it takes you. It'll probably take you to two, because if you're doing better things, life becomes better. Become the become the man that your family has always needed. Purpose you have always needed, and a life the younger you has always desired. Like I say, if this hits home for you or anybody that you love, please pass it along. I want to build this into a revolution. I want to build it into something that builds stronger men. Um, I want to touch every corner of this country and help build a more masculine country that takes the responsibility, that takes the bull by the horns, and develops a beautiful family that matters. And if you find value in my message, um, in God's message, please hit the like button, subscribe, share it to your friends, share it to your family. If you need any advice, anybody to talk to, please visit my website, iamundivided.com, and message me through the contact page. And I'm happy to reach out to you and we can have a conversation. Making comments on the videos, it allows me to be able to see what you guys are thinking. If there's something that I'm missing, that'd be awesome. And I'm going to be here for you as long as you're here for me, week after week. This means more to me each and every time that I do it. And I'm going to stick with it as long as you stick with it, maybe even if you don't, because at the end of the day, I'm building something here that makes me feel good. It makes me feel whole. It makes me feel undivided. And I'm your host, as usual, Adam Maxwell with Undivided. I love you guys all. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week.